It was ignorance that doomed the world. Dragons had been reduced to the fodder of myth and legends for so long that even when they appeared once again across the skies, the sightings were at first dismissed as hoaxes. But when the greatest cities of the world were consumed by fire and terrible monsters of antiquity appeared in such numbers as to blot out the sun, it was no ancient fantasy. Too late, mankind discovered that this species of super predator had turned the dinosaurs to dust, and the fires they unleashed brought about a global ice age. For millions of years, they had hibernated in the deepest corners of the earth, waiting for the world above to repopulate. The greatest arsenals of mankind were turned against them, but no fire could extinguish theirs. As the planet turned to ash, mankind fled into the countryside, finding places where they could dig in, work together, and outlast them. But in the northern territories of what was once the United Kingdom, the fortresses of Edinburgh, Penbury, and Norwich fell one by one. In 2020, with the extinction of the human race imminent, only a dilapidated castle in Northumberland, led by a man named Quinn Abercrombie, remained. Built upon the ruins of an ancient medieval fortress, the Northumberland stronghold had been haphazardly fortified across the years and expanded with salvaged materials and armaments. Crumbling stone walls were reinforced with steel and iron, catwalks raised upon restored battlements, and everywhere, a network of pipes crisscrossed the complex, capable of dousing the entire settlement in water and extinguishing even dragonflame. Beneath the outer walls, decayed bits of technology were employed alongside methods that had been replaced centuries ago. Solar panels next to windmills, messenger birds next to radio towers. Within the central keep, a tunnel network was constantly expanded, carved deep into the rocky landscape that surrounded the castle and similarly equipped with lines of hoses, water, sprinklers, and ventilators. If the structures above were destroyed, these tunnels would be the last refuge for humanity. What few amenities existed in the settlement were gifted to the community's children. Stories from the old world were retold and performed in a rundown chapel. A fitting place for every performance and luxury was always followed by a prayer. A new kind of survivalist religion had emerged within the fortress, one that called for always keeping one eye open and always fixed on the skies above. This kind of obsessiveness was ingrained in every resident, and constant drills ensured the populace could mobilize and react to any threat within moments. Such preparations were necessary. In the early years of its existence, the stronghold endured attacks by dragons, but also incursions by marauders and remnants of the armed forces. With both humanity and dragons alike facing starvation, Northumberland's greatest resource was its small collection of farms. These were located on the outskirts of the settlement, along with countless graves, a reminder of the fate that would await all should the crops fail. Each year, however, fewer crops survived, and the idea that humanity might outlast the dragons became dubious at best. It was the arrival of the Kentucky Irregulars, led by a dragon hunter named Denton Van Zandt, that finally sparked Northumberland and later Quinn himself into action. It would come at the cost of the fortress, however. Provoked by Van Zandt's incursion into its territory, the sole male dragon, progenitor of its race, decimated the settlement and left Quinn little choice but to join Denton and destroy the ancient creature. In the ruins of London, the duel between man and the great predator of legend ended with the death of Van Zandt. But when Quinn returned to Northumberland, the skies above were for the first time no longer something to be feared. On the hills surrounding the ruined fortress, a transmitter was constructed, and the voices of other human survivors broadcast once more.
In Atlas, the Templin Institute investigates the most storied places from across alternate worlds. If you've enjoyed this video and would like to join the Templin Institute, consider pledging to our Patreon page. Along with increased security access, you'll be able to vote in polls to determine future topics, get custom wallpaper every week, and receive some other exclusive rewards.